Diamonds were first discovered in India, with numerous historical records appearing in 4th century trade activities across Asia. It is believed that diamonds were traded from India to other countries via the Silk Route. But until then, no diamond had been found that left people simply staring in awe. Time passed, and it was all too easily forgotten. Yet the precious stone had already claimed its place. In the 13th century, when there wasn't a single diamond mine anywhere else in the world, a gem was found in India whose brilliance brought even great kings to a standstill. This diamond was truly unique. Who back then could have guessed that in the days to come, it would be so unique and priceless that anyone who saw it would be spellbound. As its popularity grew, so did the competition among the kings of that era. The race to possess it intensified. Today's story is that of the Koh-i-Noor, the diamond that emerged from India's mines and is now part of Britain's heritage. It's not as if the Koh-i-Noor, which once added luster to India's pride, suddenly became British overnight, nor was it simply taken in a war. Its history is a very long one, passing from one Indian princely state to another. Finally, the diamond was handed over to the British crown as a so-called gift. And here's another fascinating detail: it passed through the thrones of the Mughal Sultanate. During its journey to becoming the crown on Queen Victoria's head, this diamond was never bought or sold. Perhaps that is why it has been considered priceless to this day. But the Koh-i-Noor has its own story. Its brilliance has cost many lives, and the world remains unaware of the numerous tales driven by desire for it. The world is still uninformed to this day. So let us take you into the sparkling stories of the Koh-i-Noor and tell you those tales that have swirled behind its shine.
The Indian government has said it will make every possible effort to recover the priceless Koh-i-Noor diamond that is part of the Queen's crown. Malik Kafur gave that mandil, which he had obtained from that location, to the recipient.
It's not too far from here. Through generations, it's been stolen, it's been fought over, a manner of chicanery and skullduggery to get it to its current point. The entire diamond you ever can't return, ever.
I can think of no alternative but to fully acknowledge the utterly painful fact that the valuable diamond was forcibly removed from our possession.
In India, one goes about India. I don't say it because of an Indian trick. You should then learn about India. To look at him, just pay for it.
Numerous tales circulate about the origin of the Koh-i-Noor. According to one such story, this diamond was approximately 5,000 years ago. Jambavan presented it to Lord Krishna. In the Mahabharata era, this diamond was known as the Syamantaka money. But the story doesn't end there. The Koh-i-Noor is also said to date back to the Mahabharata era. It is also said to have been found in a river 3,200 years ago. Well, whatever the truth, to this day about this diamond's origin, accurate and valid information has not yet been gathered. At the time of its discovery, the Koh-i-Noor was the world's largest diamond and its total weight was around 793 carats. Later, the diamond was cut several times, and because of these cuts, its weight dropped to around 105.6 carats. Despite being cut so many times over several centuries, the Koh-i-Noor diamond still stands as one of the world's most magnificent polished diamonds. According to many claims, the story of the Koh-i-Noor begins in the 13th century, when the Kakatiya Dynasty ruled what is now Andhra Pradesh. In those days, coal deposits in Golconda were being mined. It was in the Koh-i-Noor mines there that the Koh-i-Noor was discovered. At the time the Koh-i-Noor was discovered, India was in an age of kings and emperors. Therefore, whenever any precious object was found, it was delivered to the king. Similarly, as soon as the Koh-i-Noor was found, it was sent to the king of the Kakatiya Dynasty. The king was deeply impressed by its beauty and brilliance, and they had the diamond set in the left eye of their clan goddess Bhadrakali. Very soon, word of it spread throughout India, and news of it reached Alauddin Khilji, the ruler of the Delhi Sultanate. In those days, Khilji was dreaming big dreams of expanding his empire. He also wanted to extend his rule into the southern part of India. A few months later, under Malik Kafur's command, Khilji's army attacked the Kakatiya dynasty and looted the Koh-i-Noor. After that, the Koh-i-Noor came into Alauddin Khilji's hands and became part of the Delhi Sultanate. Later, when the Tughlaqs defeated the Khiljis, by that time the Koh-i-Noor had already become renowned throughout India and even far beyond. That whenever one king conquered another, he would claim the Koh-i-Noor from the vanquished ruler. In this way, the Koh-i-Noor passed from the Khiljis to the Tughlaqs. Once with the Tughlaqs, the Koh-i-Noor reached Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Later, through the Tughlaqs, it came into the possession of Hoshang Shah, the king of Malwa. After becoming king of Malwa, Hoshang Shah sought to conquer his neighboring state of Gwalior. At that time, Gwalior was ruled by the Tomar king Dangarendra Singh. They were in power, Hoshang Shah seized the opportunity to attack Gwalior, but to save his life, he handed over the Koh-i-Noor and all his wealth to Dongarendra Singh. This transfer, noted in the Babur Nama, serves as the diamond's first documented proof. Through Dongarendra Singh's unwavering dedication and meticulous careful handling, the precious legendary diamond eventually reached the last Tomar ruler, King Vikramaditya. By that time, the Delhi Sultanate was firmly under Ibrahim Lodi's rule as its ruler. Ibrahim Lodi had also heard various extraordinary tales about the legendary Koh-i-Noor diamond. Therefore, to expand his empire and seize the gem, he launched an attack. In this war, King Vikramaditya was defeated. After his defeat, King Vikramaditya had to place the Koh-i-Noor and all his wealth in Ibrahim Lodi's Agra fort. But Ibrahim Lodi's joy over the victory did not last long. Barely a year later, he lost both his power and the Koh-i-Noor into Babur's hands. During that period, Babur harbored dreams of ruling Delhi. Since 1599, he had invaded India several times, but each time he had to return defeated. In 1526, Babur once again launched an invasion of India. This time, his battle with Ibrahim Lodi took place at Panipat. After days of fierce fighting, Ibrahim Lodi was killed. It came under Babur's control. Babur, captivated by the Koh-i-Noor, made extensive mention of it in his autobiography, the Baburnama. He lavished praise on the Koh-i-Noor diamond and wrote that this priceless gemstone, with its unmatched brilliance and storied past, possessed a value vast enough to feed the world for a day. However, Babur never once referred to this famous and illustrious diamond as Koh-i-Noor in the Persian text of the Baburnama memoir, which clearly shows that it did not yet bear the name Noor. After Babur, Humayun became the next ruler of the Mughal dynasty, and with the throne, the Koh-i-Noor also came into his possession. A few years after gaining power, Humayun's empire began to collapse when his younger brothers revolted against him, which forced him to divide the empire among them. After dealing with his brothers, he had only just begun to reunify his empire. Then the Afghan ruler Sher Shah Suri attacked him. Within 2 years, they fought 2 battles at Chausa and Kannauj. He was defeated both times, forcing him to abandon everything and flee to Iran to seek refuge with King Tahmasp. Tahmasp welcomed him warmly and kept him under his protection for many years. Pleased with this treatment, Humayun presented the Koh-i-Noor to him as a gift. Thus, the Koh-i-Noor left India for the first time and reached Iran, remaining with King Tahmasp for nearly 3 years. After that, the Koh-i-Noor was once again returned to Bharat, where countless kings had laid out thousands of corpses in their attempts to seize it. But since King Tahmasp had no genuine interest in the artifact, he graciously gifted it to his close friend Nizam Shah, sovereign of the Ahmadnagar kingdom, as a gesture of loyalty. He was an ardent admirer of the Koh-i-Noor. The diamond stayed with Nizam Shah for several years, and then, via him, it reached Qutb Shah, the king of Golconda. In 1656, this diamond somehow fell into the hands of Qutb Shah's prime minister, Mir Jumla. He used it to gain favor with Shah Jahan. Shah Jahan was very fond of ornamental objects. Driven by this passion, he commissioned the Peacock throne. It is said that in crafting this Peacock throne, the Shah spent twice as much as he did on the Taj Mahal. On the throne, he had various diamonds, gold and precious stones set, and he placed the Koh-i-Noor at the very top of the throne. But the Shah couldn't occupy that throne for long. Later, his own son Aurangzeb had him arrested and thrown into prison. Aurangzeb, after usurping his father's throne, also seized the Koh-i-Noor. He was deeply fascinated by it when he saw it, and he commissioned a renowned jeweler to recut it to make it even more attractive. However, during the cutting, a significant part of the Koh-i-Noor broke off. Thus, it was reduced from 793 carats to only 186 carats. When Aurangzeb got word of this, he grew furious. He imposed a hefty fine on the jeweler and had it secured in his fortified treasury, where the Koh-i-Noor was long famed for its unparalleled brilliance and timeless allure. And it's said that whoever held this rare diamond first then swiftly raised the banner of victory across every land thereafter. But as time passed, the diamond itself became the cause of their ruin. In the years that followed, people saw this come true. Since its discovery, whichever king held it, his empire did not last long. It quickly shattered and fell apart. The Koh-i-Noor remained with Babur, Humayun and Shah Jahan, and each endured the worst period at the end of their reign. Whereas the diamond never came into the possession of Emperor Akbar, who was the Mughals' most beloved ruler, the Mughal empire was already in decline. It then passed into the capable hands of this influential dynasty's long-reigning king, Muhammad Shah Rangila, who was also widely and respectfully known as Bahadur Shah Rangila. By that time, the Mughals had grown weak and this vulnerability was exploited. By this time, the Mughals had weakened. Taking advantage of this, Iran's ruler Nader Shah launched an attack. He utterly destroyed Bahadur Shah Rangila's camp. He wreaked a dreadful massacre across Delhi. Whoever crossed his path lost their life. Within mere days, Nader Shah ruthlessly plundered all the vast Mughal treasures and forcibly seized the magnificent Peacock throne which had been commissioned by Emperor Shah Jahan. But he still hadn't obtained the Koh-i-Noor, whose legendary brilliance he had heard so much about. The actual Koh-i-Noor eluded him because Bahadur Shah Rangila was hiding it in his turban. When Nader Shah learned of this, in order to secure it and to celebrate his decisive victory in memorable fashion, he proudly asked the Mughal ruler Bahadur Shah to exchange turbans ceremonially with him. Bahadur Shah, already thoroughly defeated in a devastating battle, recognized that he could not risk his life by defying Nader Shah's overwhelming authority, so he was ultimately compelled reluctantly to remove his turban. As soon as Bahadur Shah took off his turban, the diamond fell to the ground. The moment it touched the floor, its radiance spread all around. Seeing it, Nader Shah was struck dumb, and the word Koh-i-Noor slipped from his lips, meaning mountain of light. From that moment on, the diamond became known by that name. A few days later, Nader Shah returned to Iran with his army, carrying the Koh-i-Noor and many other treasures looted from India. Even as time passed, his attraction to the Koh-i-Noor never diminished. He was so enamored with the Koh-i-Noor that he wanted to keep it before his eyes at all times. Therefore, Nader Shah began fastening the Koh-i-Noor to his arm. For several years, everything went smoothly. But then, the Koh-i-Noor began to exert its influence on Nader Shah's empire as well. His life was ruined to such an extent that, in his final days, he lost his mental balance and started to suspect even his own loyal bodyguards. Because of these suspicions, he removed all his commanders and appointed Ahmad Shah Durrani as commander, ordering the elimination of all his former commanders and bodyguards. However, Nader Shah's plans were discovered by his old bodyguards. After that, two bodyguards named Salar Khan and Muhammad Khan Zar assassinated Nader Shah on the spot. Moving forward, Nader Shah's financial officer Muhammad Kazim Marvi wrote a book called Alam Arai Nadiri, in which this diamond was mentioned as Koh-i-Noor, which is the first valid source for the diamonds being named Koh-i-Noor. After Nader Shah's death, Ahmad Shah Durrani seized his empire. He then took the Koh-i-Noor from Iran to Afghanistan. In this way, the Koh-i-Noor travelled from India to Iran and then to Afghanistan. After this, the Shah Shuja Durrani, a descendant of Ahmad Shah Durrani, came into possession of the Koh-i-Noor. Over time, its ownership shifted with changing royal thrones. But one thing that never changed throughout centuries of turmoil and changing ownership was the Koh-i-Noor's remarkable brilliance and enduring, irresistible allure. Someone asked Shuja's wife, Wafa Begum, to predict the Koh-i-Noor's price. She glanced upward, replied that if 4 powerful wrestlers lifted it, no figure could suffice. If one were to fling 1 stone in each direction and a 5th stone were launched toward the sky, it could be measured precisely. Even if the combined journeys of all 5 stones were filled with gold, its value would only equal the Koh-i-Noor's. Begum's words let one envision the gem's true magnificence. The diamond was priceless and celebrated. Once Shah Shuja Durrani had secured power and the Koh-i-Noor, his reign began smoothly. He had conquered many neighboring territories to bolster his strength, but then one day his fortunes changed and his brothers rebelled, overthrowing him. Shah Shuja Durrani fled Afghanistan with his wife to Lahore, where Maharaja Ranjit Singh granted them asylum. The Maharaja not only allowed him to stay in Lahore, but also encouraged him to reclaim his throne. In his attempt to regain power, he attacked Attock, but he was defeated. The governor of Attock, Zahan Dad Khan, arrested him and locked him up in the jail at Srinagar. As soon as Maharaja Ranjit Singh learned of it, he immediately dispatched trusted commander Muhkam Chand on a special mission to Kashmir to retrieve it. Afterwards, Muhkam Chand arranged his release and brought him to Lahore. Wafa Begum was very happy with Maharaja Ranjit Singh for saving her husband's life, and she gave the exquisitely cut Koh-i-Noor diamond to Maharaja Ranjit Singh as a heartfelt royal diplomatic gift. Maharaja Ranjit Singh was the ruler of the Sikh Empire. At that time, the British governed India, so his court frequently hosted many British officers. Even after obtaining the illustrious Koh-i-Noor diamond, British officers would visit his lavish palace to proudly display the gem and praise it wholeheartedly. He often wore it on his wrist and paraded among the public during major festivals like Diwali and Dussehra. The Koh-i-Noor was so dear to him that he would often carry it with him even during battles. Initial phase. he would carry it with him even during many wars. In the initial phase, when the Koh-i-Noor first came into Maharaja Ranjit Singh's possession, he had already won several important battles. It was the calm before the storm in his life. Over time, the Koh-i-Noor began to exert its influence on Maharaja Ranjit Singh as well. By 1839, he was beset by numerous illnesses. At one point, the condition of the monarch known as the Lion of Punjab had deteriorated so badly that he was no longer able to rise from his bed unaided. With the end of his life approaching, Maharaja Ranjit Singh started making generous charitable donations. He generously gifted many of his most prized possessions to local temples and gurdwaras, and he had even fervently wished that the remaining Koh-i-Noor in his possession be donated without hesitation to a single temple. However, his ministers refused, arguing that the Koh-i-Noor could not be given to a temple. Before this wish could be fulfilled, on 27th June 1839, Maharaja Ranjit Singh passed away. News of the intended donation of the Koh-i-Noor to a temple was detailed in several British newspapers. This report also caught Queen Victoria's attention, after which she instructed her officials to keep a close watch on the Koh-i-Noor. After Maharaja Ranjit Singh's death, his son Kharak Singh succeeded him as ruler of the Sikh Empire, but it was difficult for him to manage such a vast realm on his own. It was his close associates who were plotting against him. Just a few months after becoming king, Kharak Singh was poisoned to death. The unity of the Sikh Empire had fractured, and people had become thirsty for each other's blood. This went on for about 4 years. In the meantime, several of Maharaja Ranjit Singh's sons sat on the throne, but each was swiftly put to death. Now, the one to uphold the Sikh Empire's power was only his youngest son, Dalip Singh, who was just 5 years old. Despite his tender age, he was made king to keep the empire from collapsing. However, Dalip Singh was king in name only. In reality, the reins of the Sikh dominion lay in the hands of his mother, Jind Kaur. Observing an inexperienced ruler and the growing intrigues, the British seized the perfect opportunity to annex the Sikh Empire, and in 1845 they attacked Punjab. The Sikhs found it difficult to face the British army, and within a few days the English won the war. Afterward, the British also wrested Kashmir from the Sikh Empire. 4 years later, in the early months of 1849, the British once again attacked the Sikh Empire. The weakened Sikh forces were soon forced to fall back. On 29th March, the English occupied Lahore fort and subsequently presented the Sikhs with the stipulated detailed terms of the Treaty of Lahore, following their formal consolidation of power over the strategic and ancient fortress, which they were compelled to accept. Afterwards, the British announced that Maharaja Dalip Singh would receive an annual pension of £50,000, which today would be worth about 650 million rupees. After that, the British imprisoned their mother, Jind Kaur, and sent Dalip Singh to Queen Victoria in London. In this way, the British also ended the Sikh Empire's last hope of uniting its fractured rule forever, without end or limitation. After annexing the Sikh Empire, Governor-General Lord Dalhousie himself came to Lahore fort to seize the Koh-i-Noor. From here, having obtained it, he sent it to Queen Victoria in Britain aboard a ship on 6th April 1850. The ship carrying the Koh-i-Noor to Britain faced many hardships en route. When it was in the middle of the ocean, a fierce storm brought the vessel to the brink of sinking. Somehow, nearly 3 months later, the ship arrived in Britain on 29th of June 1850. It was dispatched clandestinely to Britain under strict secrecy protocols, so that not a single individual aboard the vessel was aware it bore the Koh-i-Noor diamond. After that, the Koh-i-Noor was delivered to Queen Victoria. Later, when news of its arrival reached the public, people became excited to see it. After heavy public demand, 3 years later it was placed in London's Crystal Palace to be shown to the public. To see it, London was crowded to bursting. They even said that never before had such a crowd been seen in London. But when the public saw the Koh-i-Noor, they did not like it at all. As soon as word of the people's reaction reached Queen Victoria, she felt quite upset. She ordered that the Koh-i-Noor be cut in a European style to make it even more attractive. She wanted it cut in such a way that it could be easily fitted into her crown. After about 38 days of cutting, it was set into Queen Victoria's crown. After the recut, the diamond remained at roughly 105 carats. Once the Koh-i-Noor was placed in her crown, Queen Victoria wore it until her last breath. Even after her death, it was worn not by any king but only by queens, in keeping with the belief that had developed around it. At a juncture in history, even the most skeptical English became convinced of the legend that anyone who possessed the Koh-i-Noor would surely suffer misfortune. They thought the curse had no effect on women. Therefore, generation after generation, British Maharanis used it, and later, eventually it became part of Britain's enduring heritage. Having graced the British royal family for so many centuries, the Koh-i-Noor diamond had now ultimately drifted far beyond India's historical and cultural reach. Then in 1947, when India gained independence, India along with several other countries immediately began claiming its right to the Koh-i-Noor. At various times, the Koh-i-Noor had been held by different kings of different countries, so all these nations believed they had a right to it. After multiple claims, Britain refused to hand the Koh-i-Noor over to any of them. So far, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan and Iran have all staked their claims. The Indian government has repeatedly asked Britain to send it back to India with diplomatic insistence, but Britain has always been reluctant to return it under any circumstances. Immediately after independence in 1947 and again in 1953, India asserted its claim. But the British government deemed it non-negotiable and flatly refused to hand it over to India. Still, the Indian government did not give up hope of securing it. And in 2000, several senior Indian MPs collectively sent an officially signed formal document to Britain demanding the return of the Koh-i-Noor diamond to India. But, as always, India was left disappointed once more. Britain rejected India's request, saying that the Koh-i-Noor has, at various times, been part of different countries. But now it is part of British heritage, so it cannot be returned to India. 15 years after that event, in 2015, Shashi Tharoor was invited to deliver a speech at Oxford University. In that speech, he strongly criticized the British for the assets looted from India over 200 years. In doing so, he also mentioned the Koh-i-Noor and other Indian heritage items now held by Britain. A year later, in 2016, an NGO filed a petition in the Supreme Court in which it asked the Indian government questions about bringing the stolen Koh-i-Noor back to India. Later, when the case was heard, Solicitor General Ranjit Kumar represented the Indian government. He had represented the case. In the hearing, he argued that Britain had acquired the Koh-i-Noor from the ruler of the Sikh Empire, Duleep Singh, under a treaty. On that basis, the Supreme Court, after carefully evaluating all historical evidence and legal arguments, dismissed the unfounded claim that Britain had stolen the Koh-i-Noor.